Who Dat Nation, your Saints are 3-2 heading into the bye, despite injuries to key players like Eric McCoy, Marcus Davenport, Michael Thomas, on and on and on. A lot to be positive about looking forward. We try not to be so critical. We try to highlight the positives on this episode. We talk about the most important players coming back from injury. We have some fun. This is a hell of an episode. One of my favorites. I hope you enjoy it. Let's get it. Pro Saints talk. Full tilt. Let's go.
Look at uptown people like yeah yeah yeah. People up in Britain like yeah yeah yeah. Mid city folks like yeah yeah yeah. People downtown man yeah yeah yeah.
Where you at, Hoodats? Welcome back to Pro Saints Talk. Here with your Saints that are now 3-2 heading into the bye after a wild and wacky road game. You only get these kind of games on the road, it seems. But hey, coming out with the victory any way we can get it, and we're certainly happy to be in this situation, going into the bye, getting healthy again, and we got the whole crew back healthy here. George, Jay, we'll kick it over to you, George. How we living, baby?
Ron, we're living lavish. We're doing terrific. Ready to get into it. So much to unpack. We said must win, and what happened? But before we gloat over that, let's introduce our main man, Jay. Because I get too excited. I'm trying to get into topics, and I don't bring my boy in. So Jay, how you doing, dog?
Oh, nice to be included this week in the intro. How big of a difference does a week make? You know, we're talking about must win, terrible loss. And then some things bounced our way like the Hail Mary, and here we are today speaking about our Super Bowl run. Ron, take it from here.
Yeah, speaking of balls bouncing our way, George, we have to kick off probably the first and maybe only ever podcast that we're going to kick this off with the punting game. The punting game won this game. You could argue that it set up many of the plays like the Hail Mary that Jay just alluded to. But, George, I don't know if I've ever seen it happen before. I don't know if I'll ever see it happen again. 3 punts by Blake Gillikin down inside the 3. Show this man some love.
Man, this will be the first time we introduce a podcast with a punter. The first time we name an episode after a punter. And our boy Blake Gillikin's Island still can't get Special Teams Player of the Week. He's yelling out to the world, what more can I do? What more do you want from me? Not like Leonidas. What's our boy Russell Crowe in Gladiator? What more can I do? You know, that P.J. Williams interception was –
George, the answer is Maximus.
Are you not entertained?
Are you not entertained?
Wait, seriously, he wasn't the Special Teams Player of the Week this week?
The Eagle that blocked the punt was the Special Teams Player of the Week.
Oh,
and it's just
you have got to be kidding
George,
me.
No, it was Mason Crosby. They gave it to Mason Crosby.
No, false. They gave it to the Eagles. Where's our stat, Ron? They gave it to the Eagle that blocked the punt. 1,000%. I'll bet you the Godfather, whatever Vegas bet he has, that was the Defensive Player of the Year, of the week. Fantastic performance. That P.J. Williams interception that went us to propel us to the win was directly caused by that Blake Gillikin punt. It was fantastic. I mean, when we were very fed up with Morstead last year because he set a really high bar for himself over the course of his career. You know, the best punter we've had since Mark Royal, probably the best punter we've ever seen. And then last year, a drastic turn down. And then we bring in Gillikin, who we really don't know anything about. And he's looking as good, if not better, than we've ever seen from Morstead. And I know that's saying a lot, getting ahead of ourselves, but this is a weapon that we're using to win games, which we need in this Jameis era.
Okay, yes, but for as good as that was, this is why I'm saying it was such a wild and wacky game. Like, yes, we had unprecedented punting game. We got all the bounces there. But then on the flip side, Jay, you missed an opportunity to block a punt, and even worse than that, you extend a drive by giving them the roughing the kicker. And then our boy Cody Parkey, a.k.a. Cody Doinky, I mean, look, I guess I'll give him a break because I did learn that, okay, yeah, he injured his groin before the game and he toughed it out. But, man, can we catch a break here with the kicking game? Good golly, we need Will Lutz back. But, Jay, I mean, what were your thoughts on – what were your emotions doing with the dichotomy of this game with so many ups and downs, just specifically in the special teams game?
Yeah, what a warrior Cody Parkey was to trot out for those extra points. Speaking of Maximus.
Yeah, Ron, no praise to Cody Parkey whatsoever. That's a bit lavish. I don't mean to interrupt you, Jay, but that was a bit obtuse.
The guy, when they kept showing him on the sideline, looked like an 8th grader, Mr. Arton's Jesuit speech class, about to get up there just petrified. I'm like, please don't let us kick the ball here.
Okay, first off, I just said I guess I'll give him a break. It wasn't like I was like, oh, man, the courage that this guy displayed. So get out of here.
We'll rewind the tape, but kicker has been an issue, and they signed the guy off the Bears practice squad. Much has been made about what comes along with the technicalities of that. He's got to be an active player for 3 games. So what does that mean about Lutz's injury? I think it means that the Saints are going for the most solid option, knowing that kicking is going to be a factor. And even if Will Lutz is healthy, say the week after the Seattle game, what they can do, I think what some people missed is he can be one of those healthy scratches in worst best case scenario. Lutz trots out there and is back for field goals. But they must have had some good intel on this guy to sign him from the Bears practice squad. There's been a lot of people asking about the Ravens backup kicker that I think drilled a 58-yarder against the Saints in preseason, where Lutz came from. And he's been hurt, so that's why they didn't go in that direction. But, yeah, where was my head at with the dichotomy of the game and specifically special teams? I mean, I think outside of special teams, the game Sunday is a game that you typically lose looking at the first quarter, right? Jameis had the interception where Pete stepped on his foot. He got stripped. You had the Granderson roughing the punter on 4th and 12 that extended the drive. So essentially you had 3 turnovers in the first quarter. And if we think back to the week before, that's a game the Saints should have won, and they didn't. And against Washington, that's a game that, looking at the first quarter, there's not many teams that turn the ball over 2 times, essentially 3 times in the first quarter, and win by double digits. I think the Hail Mary was the big momentum swinger of the game. And then also the big pass that Jameis connected with Deontay Harris on too, where he bounced back from that interception, was a key moment in that game as well.
And Ron, let me just hop in just on the special teams component. So Deontay Harris went out, hamstring. And then we put in Kamara as the punt returner and kick returner. And I thought one of those times it was because the Redskins, I know they're not the Redskins, but okay, just follow my point here. The Redskins were punting from their own end zone, and it was a very advantageous position to return a punt, and Kamara was going to be at the 50, and a great opportunity to score from a punt. But I didn't think he'd actually be our perennial backup punt returner once Harris went down. And to me, that was a bit of the roller coaster ride on the special teams. Why are we going to Kamara for kick returns and punt returns when he's our everything, George, on offense?
I understand what you're saying, but I think a little bit of that is the pulse of the game. We talked about last week going into this game how important it was for the Saints to win, right? I think Sean Payton also felt that, and with just the way the game was going, you needed a little bit of a spark there. You couldn't just put early career Lance Moore back there to fair catch the ball. I'd be surprised if going forward Kamara's that guy, but I think that's why they did that, because Peyton realized, the team realized how critical that game was to win.
That game is extremely critical. And equal to that is winning with Kamara. Ty Montgomery has a fantastic track record of returning kicks and punts. Why not put him in there? Because we keep using Kamara. Oh, we have to win this game, so we're going to use Kamara for running between the tackles like Deuce McAllister. Oh, we have to win this game, so we're going to use Kamara like Darren Sproles. Oh, we have to win this game, so we're going to use Kamara like he's the beer man. I mean, enough said. I mean, we're going to wear this dude out. We have to win this game and the next game. And to me, that was one of the biggest head scratchers. And we're using Kamara so much, and it's going to turn into the Panthers with Christian McCaffrey. I know that's a topic for later, but that, to me, was one of the head scratchers just in the special teams alone.
Well, I mean, I could argue both sides of that, George, because, I mean, one, you got a short lifespan on Kamara anyway. He's a running back in the league. We all know that. And so, yeah, use him while you got him. But I do agree with you. You have other options. It's not like Kamara is your only option for punt returns. And I don't know. I just feel like it's not like he's got a just spotless track record of receiving kicks flawlessly either. So, like, yeah, I don't know why you don't go Ty Montgomery there. But, yeah, I did just want to highlight just one thing, keeping y'all honest, because I'm pretty sure I was the first one to come to Jameis's defense on that first interception and say, well, look, I'm pretty sure he couldn't really step into that because he got hit or the pressure was getting to him. And on the replay, guess who, George? Guess who? Quarterback hater. I mean, what does this guy have against our quarterbacks? Why did we pay this dude, George? Why did we pay Andrews Pete?
You're preaching to the choir. And Ron, not only did he do that, but he was called out by Sean Payton after the game for not having the right cleats on because he obviously couldn't get the traction necessary to fight back, and then he was just on skates being pushed back into Jameis 2 years ago, hurting our boy Drew Brees versus Aaron Donald. 2 years later, trying to do the same thing to our boy Jameis. Come on, can we get someone else out there? I mean, Andrews Pate, I'm your biggest constructive critic. It's almost kind of fun at this point to just knock him. But to answer your actual questions, like why is he still out there? It's because he's a Loomis draft pick. And so Loomis has his pride on paying and re-signing his draft picks and to validate himself. And there's no clearer example of that than Andrews Pete, who's doing stuff like what we saw last week, yet getting a hefty salary.
Yeah, I mean, this is just another one on his resume here. I mean, he was responsible for Breeze's thumb, and he was almost responsible for Jameis's ankle. I don't know how Jameis didn't get hurt with big old baby fat Pete landing on him. But either way, there was another one that I had to defend him too. Look, should he have held on to the ball when he got hit and fumbled by Chase Young? Sure. Obviously we want strong hands holding on to that football. But George, this is another low-key topic for the season here that Ryan Ramczyk has taken a step back. I mean, you would think.
Ron, I don't try to talk about. Okay, Andrews Pete had a mistake. Oh, Ryan Ramrod, he didn't looking a bit worse. Okay, we won. Let's highlight the beautiful things that happened. We're how many minutes into the episode? 18 minutes minus our chit chat before. Look, no one even talked about Marshawn Lattimore yet. Marshawn Lattimore was out of his mind. That 4th and 10 when they threw to an open scary Terry and Lattimore shoved him out of bounds. He couldn't get the second toenail in. And then first down Saints, how they were trying to come back in the fourth quarter and Marshawn Lattimore kept closing the door, said, not on my watch. Lattimore is playing phenomenal, fantastic. I mean, think of all the great corners of our lifetime being Saints fans. Like that year we brought McKenzie in from the second round draft pick from the Packers. The time we brought Jabari Greer in his first year. This is better than all of those years. The year that we're seeing Lattimore put together has just been mesmerizing. And I want to hear Jay talk more about that.
Yeah, well, they say it's October, George, and it's scary Terry's time to shine. But for Marshawn to hold him to 40 yards is quite impressive. And every time the commentator said, this is one of the most underrated receivers in the league, you really don't hear about him. I heard about Terry McLaurin all week. He's on the radar, okay? So Kenny Albert, whoever you are, we don't need to talk about scary Terry anymore because he has clearly caught the attention of the NFL world as a top 5, top 10 wide receiver. And Marshawn went out there and he did his thing. And that's why I have great confidence in the Saints team going forward, or part of the reason because of our defensive backs. We haven't even talked about our boy Paulson Adebo with the timely interception inside the red zone. And then Marcus Williams coming over and making that great play on third down, rangy. So the secondary gives us a lot of hope going forward.
No doubt. Look, George, first off, sorry, my bad. heat check. But you're right, Jay. The defense made the defense made the right plays. They put themselves in position to make some of those plays, but we can't deny. I mean, Taylor Heineke gave us some gifts, and we knew he would. We just needed to be advantageous and take them when they were offered, and that's what they did. And so those are huge game-swinging turnovers.
He was the backup XFL quarterback, 6-sack Heineke against the Saints.
No doubt. And look, I think a little bit of that was a testament to this was a little bounce back game for Cam Jordan, in my opinion. I thought he played really well. And then let's talk about our boy Pete Werner, man, climbing the ladder on this depth chart, steady as a ladder, killing the ladder drills in practice clearly with the footwork. Can I get any more ladder puns for Werner Ladders? Look, let's get a sponsorship in this podcast. But seriously, 13 tackles. He almost led the entire league this past weekend. He was everywhere. So that's definitely encouraging to see. George, the number 20 is still never going to sit right with me. It just doesn't feel like he's ever going to turn the corner to like an elite linebacker with that number. Is it just me?
It's ungodly. It's unholy. Gosh, and this is a fan question. What's more ungodly? That number 52 from your defensive tackle, Montavious Adams, had a great game, or Pete Werner at number 20? I don't even know where to begin with that. I despise both those numbers. But the play itself, I'm being nitpicky, OCD, because you want a rangy linebacker to be number 50. I think that'd be a fantastic number for the guy. But that's neither here nor there. So Pete Werner, if you watch the game again, he's everywhere. And people expect, those big DeMario Davis or even Roman Harper type boom hits as splash plays. But it doesn't matter how you bring them down. If their elbow, their knee brings them down, c'est la vie. That's the same effect. It might not be as intimidating, but gets the job done. Werner's doing that left and right all over the field. And this is Jay's point. I mean, Jay and I chit-chat all week long. And this is really what he brought to light. So I'll let him take it and run. But this is turning into another fantastic draft class from our boy Ireland. You got a Debo, second interception, turn the game around versus the Redskins. You got Werner leading the team in tackles, kind of already usurped Zach Bond, playing better than him. You have Turner, who's flashing, and it's just kind of baking into another fantastic draft class, which is how you have to win, because we're paying Ramrod, we're paying Mike Thomas, we're paying Davis, we're paying Armstead, we're paying Lattimore. So when you pay all these guys, you have no flexibility to sign free agents. So you have to hit home runs on the draft in order to succeed. And we're doing it again with Ireland's draft class. And Ireland might be as an important part of the entire wheel, cog in the machine, as, your DeMario Davis or your Ramrod, because of his ability to bring these guys in the early rounds and late rounds. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, he's the guy that kind of makes it all go in that front office. Loomis is a guy that's been really good at what he's done and has brought stability to the franchise and the organization. But Ireland's the guy in the front office that's hiring, firing, and he's the guy that had opportunities last year that he passed up. But to your point, George, we talk about re-signing guys like Ramczyk, re-signing guys like Lattimore, but hopefully there's a deal in place with Ireland, maybe a wink, something under the table that when Loomis goes, you're his successor, because that's how you sustain success in this league. You have to be able to draft well. And the Saints, as a floor, right, there's a lot of organizations that the franchise quarterback goes out, and then all of a sudden, look at the Dolphins after Dan Marino, the Broncos after John Elway. Fortunately, they were able to sign somebody like Peyton Manning. Fortunately for the Packers, they were able to draft somebody like Aaron Rodgers. But typically, when a franchise loses somebody as important as a guy like Drew Brees at the quarterback position, there is a significant dip in the team. And the success right now, even with all of the injuries that we've had, being able to keep the boat afloat has hinged upon guys like Adebo, guys like Pete Werner, even guys like Deontay Harris being able to step up and contribute, not only contribute, but be key players on this team. And when you do that and you continue to draft well year after year, not only first and second round, but third, fourth, sixth, undrafted free agents, then hopefully the floor for this team in a rebuilding year is 9-8 and not 5-11 or 5-12 and 4-13. So much credit to Ireland and those guys.
No, that's an incredible point about the stability of the franchise. That's incredible. And you know what's even more incredible? If you really look at the class in aggregate, I mean, Jay, you could almost argue Peyton Turner's the bigger bust, biggest bust out of this class. When you got guys like Ian Book vying for the starting job. I mean, right? So, yeah, never going to let you live that one down.
Okay, 5 games in. Blake Gillikin, Gillikin's Island, undrafted last year.
Wait, Jay, was that like a 5 games in? Like, hey, never know, Ian Book might take the starting job?
Yeah, that was like 5 games in. What are you ready to make him a freaking castaway because he's on the active roster? But
oh my God, dude, no! I'm making fun of you for saying he's gonna come take Jameis's job, dude.
I'm the first one to stand up and say, look, I'll give Jameis his credit. All right, you got to look at the stats and you got to look at win, loss, period. 3-2 with the guys that we haven't had playing. And the other thing you got to look at is 12 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. I will admit, Ron and George, that this quarterback in particular is under the microscope more than any other quarterback, partly because of how his career started in Tampa. He's the first pick in the draft. He had 30 interceptions as well as 30 touchdowns. And then coming on the heels of one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. And I think I'm mostly a victim, and I know other Saints fans are as well, to whoever gets the starting job after Drew Brees. I'm so accustomed to watching in the black and gold this quarterback that was so great, so competent, so that whatever else you put out there is so quickly judged. And I'll admit that in that Carolina game, when I saw the 2 terrible interceptions, I'm saying, oh, here we go. And with everything, all the pieces that we have on this team, if you're looking for a game manager, maybe Book's the play. And I never said put him in, but I just put it out. All right.
And we love you for it, because great content on here week after week. I think it's also funny that, and I guess it's to be expected, but we mentioned Drew Brees every episode, and it's just kind of funny to me. But anyway, George, I think a big point of this game was how the offense responded late in the game, right? We all saw what happened in the Giants game, absolute gut punch, kicking the nuts of a loss when you're up 11 in the fourth quarter. Similar scenario this go round, right? Up 11 in the fourth quarter, and we give up a big long drive for a touchdown to the football team, and we even said, we're like, man, defense looks gassed. This is not a good feeling right now. I don't feel great. But then they come right back and they respond with a great touchdown drive. And hey, guy we haven't highlighted all year comes up with a big catch. Adam Troutman was the big splash play on that drive. So yeah, huge response there, George. I mean, what does that tell you? What does that give this team in levels of confidence that they can now close out a game? Because they've done it twice now on the road, in New England and now in D.C.
So the crucial play on that Troutman drive was that 4th and 1. So in 3rd and 1, we QB sneak and we get stuffed. And Sean Payton's like, F that, run it again. Spread them out, QB sneak again, first down. Just like, hey, Even though we have the lead in the fourth, we're not standing on our heels. We're going to go for the throat and we're going to win. And not a lot of coaches would do that. And I know it seemed obvious to us, but we're accustomed to Sean Payton's mentality. And think of last week. Think of 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. We told the audience, we were just thinking, okay, well, we may need to open up the playbook. We need to open up the playbook. We need some creativity. We need to go downfield. Well, Jameis did that. And when Jameis does that, look at the results. He takes you on a roller coaster ride. And I love it. I really do. You get the Deontay Harris big touchdowns. You get some interceptions. You get some entertainment. And that little roller coaster ride that he takes us on offense might be the balance that we need to win. And this isn't going to be a team. Okay, so look at the NFC. You have the Buccaneers and the Rams as the top tier. But right underneath that, I'd say you have the Cardinals, Packers, and Saints. And if we have this Jameis fun offense that has touchdowns,
don't forget the Cowboys.
That has this fun offense and a very good defense, that might be a recipe to win you games. And it might give the opponent a good field position in certain moments. However, you're going to average, like we had 33 points last week, you're going to average somewhere around there if you go full Jameis. And with a good defense and full Jameis getting you 33 points, that could be a recipe for success. And I know Sean Payton's so eager. You see him on the sideline yelling at Jameis. Don't do that. But if you get that I don't want to say full Jameis, but let's say 90% Jameis, that could give you the results needed to win a lot of games, much more so than having Jameis try to play Trent Dilfer football.
Well, I think they're also trying to learn how to play together. I think they're trying to get a rhythm out there, because in that same drive that we're talking about that ended with that Kamara touchdown, that drive right before that 4th and 1 that you were describing, George, we had burned 2 timeouts. And there was all kinds of like visual frustration being expressed. Like Kamara looked pretty upset with Jameis. Like you highlighted, Peyton's all upset on the sideline. So I personally think they're still trying to figure each other out in game. I mean, they don't have a ton of in-game experience, these two together. So I think that's going to have to grow and develop over the course of the year. But like I said, when they're able to figure things out like this on the road, this has got to just build extreme confidence for a schedule that, we lost a home game up front, but I mean, for the most part, it's kind of backloaded with home games. So I'm encouraged by that going forward.
And to your point, Ron, I think you look at that last drive against Washington, and it was more of a sustained drive. The big hitters are great and wonderful, but the New England last drive was a sustained drive. But aside from that, you haven't really seen a lot of that rhythm that has led to a field goal or led to a touchdown. Like right now, I don't have a ton of confidence in 3rd and 4 plus with the Saints right now, just because it seems like that rhythm between Peyton and Winston hasn't quite been established yet.
Well, Jake, can I say maybe why that is? It's because, and this is something that we all took for granted all those Drew Brees years, it's like those halfback screens, those little tight end bop plays where they fake block and then they get open, like the Josh Hill special or Billy Miller that always gets you 7 to 12 yards. There were so many little things that Drew Brees did over the course of his career that you just took for granted because he just executed the easy stuff 10 out of 10, 100 out of 100, 1,000 out of 1,000 every bloody time. Whereas all that stuff, like the easy stuff that we just took for granted, Jameis really isn't going to shoot 100% on those execution plays. And that might be the difference on those 3rd and 4s.
Well, and I'm going to continue to highlight this, that we're not at full strength. He doesn't have all of his weapons available to him. I mean, we still could – we could benefit big time from having 2019 Michael Thomas back. So I'm going to stick to that storyline. And I think that's a great thing to segue into as we get into the bye week is, this one came at a cost up in D.C. Shout out to our man Bird, not really, smearing our man Bird for putting that bad gree on our man Clickbait. I mean, look, you got your wish. Are you happy now, Bird? Yeah. Now Taysom's out with a concussion. I hope his brain cells are okay. I mean, for the sake of him and his family. So thanks a lot for that, Bird. But yeah, that's one more weapon down, right? And so, we had other injuries pop up in this game as well. So, George, let's highlight just status of where we're at and give maybe the Ron some hope of who might be coming back after the bye.
Ron, can I add something to your question?
Yeah.
George, in addition to that question, who is the most important player to come back for the Saints going forward?
Y'all put a lot of pressure on me, but I'm ready for whatever y'all got on me. Okay, so guys, listen to the big names coming back. You got Davenport, you got Traquan Smith, you got McCoy, you got Quan Alexander, and previously we may have thought maybe Mike Thomas is coming back, maybe Will Lutz is coming back. Let's not put them in that category. We don't know when Clickbait's coming back, and we haven't heard about Deontay Harris. Of the aforementioned names, I think without a doubt it's McCoy. What do you think, Jay?
To me, it's the pass rush we've highlighted it on the show, but Peyton Turner looks good. Cam Jordan looked better. But from what I'm hearing, consuming, reading, it's teams are double teaming Peyton Turner, Cam Jordan because they're that unconcerned about who we have lining up at defensive tackle. So I've seen the argument made for David Onyemata, which I think is a stretch. He's a really good player in this league and for this team, and he's very important to this team's ultimate success. But there's some other really, like Ron mentioned, the 2019 Offensive Player of the Year, Michael Thomas. How much better is he going to make this offense for those third and fours that we talked about? But to me, contract year, we talked about it, Marcus Davenport. How much better is Marcus Davenport at if he's what we saw against the Packers and what he can bring to this team? I think the combination of him, Onyemata, and then all of a sudden a guy like Turner, Cam Jordan become more of afterthoughts. I think he adds a different I swear I'm okay, not COVID.
God bless you.
Yeah, I think he
prayers for Jansen.
A whole nother dimension.
Prayers up, T's and P's.
Jay, I think Ruiz is getting exposed at center, and then Throckmorton, we got a lot out of him, but that it's not as strong as it used to be. So to have McCoy, so guys, look at Kamara. We think Kamara's having a great year, and he is having a great year, fantastic year, especially when you consider there's no other weapons. They're all keying in on him. He's only averaging 3.9 yards a carry. And I copy and pasted that stat and sent it to you all earlier in the week because I thought if you had asked me earlier in the year, if you had asked me what his stats were, I would have thought it was way higher than that. It's because we have no pressure up front. And getting McCoy back and re-solidifying that offensive line, because I wouldn't put Teron Armstead in that category because I think he's a couple weeks away. And Onyemata's not in that category either because he's week 6. So we don't get him back for the Seahawks because he's a 6-game suspension. So he's in that category if you include him, but he's actually another week. So of the guys that come back after the bye, that's going to be McCoy, my number one.
I'm not specifically talking about Seattle. I'm just talking about the couple weeks after that.
Okay, of everybody, all included, I think Mike Thomas is the clear answer. But I got on a little topic there, and I want to hit it, Ron, and I'm going to ask you a question, but I'm going to say something crazy because people always say, oh, I played on the NBA trade machine, and I made this trade for the Pelicans that are extremely advantageous for the Pelicans and not advantageous at all for the team we're dealing with. So trades are never as easy as people make them out to be when they what's his name, Fletcher Mackel. He just always does this stuff. But there's one name who's being floated around the NFL as a guy you could trade for, and that's Marlon Mack, who a few years ago was a dynamic running back for the Colts. I mean, he still is dynamic, but he's crushed on the depth chart because they drafted the guy Tyler out of Wisconsin. They have Naheem Hines on number 2, and now he's number 3 on the depth chart. And he's got a $2 million contract. It expires at the end of the year. And now that Tony Jones Jr. is out, and we're using Kamara for everything, why not? Why not? We have the money to go get a guy like Marlon Mack to be your Latavius Murray, to be your Mark Ingram, to be the guy that runs between the tackles and absorb some of those bruising hits instead of Kamara. What do you think, Ron?
I think it's definitely a need, right? I mean, you lose Tony Jones Jr., like you already highlighted, it's not sustainable to run Kamara like this the whole year. Just so everybody realized, no other running back took a carry this past weekend. I mean, that's when was the last time we ever did that? I don't even know if we did that with Deuce. So, yeah, I think it's vitally important. It's also just one of those things, though, George. Hindsight's 2020. If you would have known that you had this in Paulson Adebo, do you trade to get Bradley Roby? And maybe that's one more draft pick that you still got to be able to play with and make a deal like you're talking about. So, yeah, it's I think they will figure something out. Whether they bring a veteran in or I know they picked up Devon Zigbo, like we talked about. You called that one, George. Shout out to you. But yeah, I think they got to do something. This business model is not sustainable. So, yeah, I think that's really important to do. I wasn't really done highlighting the injuries, and I didn't really get an opinion on that, so I kind of wanted to chime in. George, I agree with you on that. I think it is McCoy because this offense goes with the offensive line. When you've got Jameis getting hit when he's trying to step into a throw, that's when the mistakes happen. When you can't run the ball, that's when you force everything on Jameis. That's when mistakes happen. So to me, I think that's so vitally important. But if I had to say which one I'm more excited about, Jay got me really pumped up there about Davenport. I was like, man, if we could get this pass rush up just even to, above average levels, like what we saw in the Packers game, like Jay said, dude, think about what that does for the back half of this defense, the way they're playing right now, the turnovers we're already generating. It could get really exciting for the Ron Nation out there. So that had me a little juiced up right there. So, okay.
Can I ask Jansen a question?
Yeah.
So this is kind of funny, and this is very nerdy. It's not very WWL at all. This is very football nerd stuff. So whenever I watch a game with my dad, he always fixates on who's the emergency quarterback. And it really tells you a lot about the team, and it's always an interesting conversation. Previously, it was Ted Ginn Jr., and before that was Lance Moore, and before that was Nate Lowry. Jay, and I had to Google this. Do you know who the current emergency Saints quarterback is?
Kendall Hinton. No, I picked Kendall Hinton up last year when Broncos had all that COVID stuff against the Saints. Thought I was being clever by starting a receiver that was playing quarterback, and he got me about -3 points. But nobody my fantasy team. Quarterback.
Weird answer.
Ty Montgomery.
Who you got, Ron?
That's a decent answer. A guy that can just do it all. I'm thinking.
The answer is a guy who played quarterback in high school with great success, and then in college, he changed position.
Zach Vaughn.
I'm gonna say Traquan Smith. But he's hurt, so he wouldn't be the emergency quarterback. So never mind. Lil Jordan Humphrey.
Adam Troutman. Converted
Okay.
tight end in college at Dayton. I thought that was extremely interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. Another white tight end emergency quarterback. Shout out Nate Lowry. All right.
Well,
yeah.
we don't see a race. Ron. We don't see a race.
Okay, well, all right. That's
Yale.
Just an observation.
Oh my
God. Yale, dude. I knew that.
No, you didn't. No.
I did know that. Are you kidding?
Shout out Isaac Paul. Shout out Cameron Brate from Harvard, drafted by the Saints, cut, now standing out for the Bucks.
Yeah, standing out. I mean, he has like a couple moments a year, but okay, I'll give you that one. Jay, I did want to just touch on one thing that I feel like you glossed over a little bit. David Onyemata, yes, you said great player, good player, I don't know, whatever. But I think we were expecting a pretty big leap year this year from him. So that's why I think the suspension was huge, because I just feel like what we were seeing from this guy last year and the impact that he was starting to get at this point in his career, I think that's going to be a huge splash when we get him back. That's just my opinion, because I think this
but
was –
Ron, you have to he's probably clean from the steroids now.
I mean – dude, come on. You know he just got on the right stuff, all right? He just got smarter, that's all. He got caught sleeping, now he's smarter. So, okay. I know we didn't want to get too forward-looking on this one. So, we wanted to kind of keep this one in retrospect, looking back at the great road win, highlight, what we got to look forward to in the bye. So I think that's a good segment here to talk about what we can look forward to in the bye. A lot of people, no Saints game over the bye week, so they take advantage. They do all kinds of fun stuff over the weekend, right? One of Red's most fun things to do is go fishing. The weatherman is very invested in what the weather is when he's going to go take the boat out. Captain Red, the weatherman, has a very special weather report for all you Rons.
Hey, Rons, it's Red, the weatherman. And it is week 6 in the NFL as your New Orleans Saints. Well, Rons, they got a bye this week. So let's look at the weather and see what other fun activities we can get ourselves into. On Sunday, there's a high of 73 degrees, and it's going to feel like 75 degrees. With a northeast wind at 9 to 15 miles per hour and a 0% chance of rain, I'm expecting conditions Sunday to be sunny and beautiful, Rons. That's right. So I'm going to suggest you do 3 things this Sunday. Number 1, go fishing. Even though there's a slight wind, the fish are inside, and I know for a fact you don't have to go far to catch them. Number 2, go to the block party at La Usa's. Our friend James Gonzi over there runs a great party, and they're going to have a live band with a bunch of great music and great drinks. And number 3, most importantly, Rons, you got to get outside. Don't sit on your couch and watch Red Zone for 6 hours straight this weekend, Rons. This is the time to get outside before it gets cold. Do it now. Have a lot of fun. And remember, Rons, who dat? Oh, yeah, one more important thing. Whether you like it or not, it's Red, the weatherman.
Looks like some calm seas this weekend. Hopefully you don't get seasick. But to give, not to look too far ahead, Ron, but to give Saints fans some hope, we cite our work here on Pro Saints Talk. 3 Jesuit guys here. I don't know, a little bit different than Newman listeners. But I was listening to Matt Moscona on ESPN Radio this afternoon, and he made a good point. He was talking about when you look at the season, or at least when you look at the week going into the Giants game, right? You're 2-1, you're playing an 0-3 team, you chalk it up as a win. Incredibly disappointing in the result, up 11 with 8 minutes left. We all know the story, we lost. But also when you're looking ahead to the season, you see you're playing at Seattle, Monday night, crazy atmosphere up there at Quest Field. I think it's still Quest. But now Russell Wilson, the same man that hurt Breeze's finger, hurts Wilson's, and he is more than likely going to miss that game. Now you're playing the Geno Smith-led Seahawks, where I wouldn't be surprised if the Saints are favored going into that one. So hopefully Saints can get to 4-2, and that takes the place of the terrible loss to the Giants.
No, that's a great point, Jay. There's always, whenever you're looking at the schedule, there's always going to be the one that you didn't expect to win, and there's always going to be, hopefully, just one that you didn't expect to lose. So, yeah, hey, hopefully we get some of those breaks. I don't wish anything upon anybody like that, but I'll take the breaks as they come. But yeah, no, I think that's a good thing to highlight. I mean, because we touched on this just slightly on the last episode that when we were calling this Washington game must win, is because it gets to be a bit treacherous going forward in terms of just tough games, right? Now, the Seattle game perceived to be a little bit easier now, but nothing's a given, especially on the road. So doesn't it just feel like this team's been on the road for freaking ever? I don't know. It's just me. But, okay, let's go to a couple fan questions that we got. Appreciate y'all hitting us up on the Instagram account when I put these out because, look, we're going to hit you right here. All right, we got DJ Doug. This is a pretty important thing, right? People, you got to respect your money, how you spend it. And he's wanting to know, should he buy a Jameis jersey? So I won't ask Jay because I already know the answer there. George, what do you think? Should DJ Doug pull the trigger on a Jameis jersey?
He should invest in the future, not a 1-year guy, but a 10-year guy, and get a little bookish. Get you an Ian Book jersey. That's you, Jay.
All right. I got one more, and this is from a loyal listener here.
Yes, that one's never going away.
I got one more here from a loyal listener. My dog, Drew. My dog, Drew, wants to know, and look, this is something that we haven't talked about on this podcast, but I'm sure all the Rons listening have heard this story. But pretty early on this season, Sean Payton dropped off yo-yos in everybody's locker. And it was a big message like, hey, don't be the yo-yo up and down team, from one week to the next. Well, what the hell have they been? A yo-yo team here. And so he wants to know, did Coach Payton make the yo-yo effect an actual thing when he gave everyone the yo-yos? Did he speak it into existence? Did he make it the reality, Jay? Did this backfire on him?
Yeah, I think, we've praised Payton before for his motivation tactics and how he's clever with inspiring the team. I don't think it was a bad tactic, but to Drew's point, yes, he did put it in their heads, but we talked about all the ways that game went awry in the last 8 minutes, and I don't think it was because Sean Payton put yo-yos in each guy's locker. And shout out to my guy, Jay Romig, who does it all for the Saints, who probably had to go to, where did he have to go? Laserways or Target to get 90 yo-yos for those guys. Sean Payton didn't buy those himself personally, like my boy Kenny Albert suggested on the broadcast.
Jay would know, and Jay would know. So, all right, George, Jay, I think this is a good time to kick it over to the newest and probably maybe the most popular favorite segment of fans. I think people are just skipping straight to this segment because they want free money. George, do you like free money?
There's no such thing as free money, Ron.
That's right. It takes money to make money. And look, take your money and follow what the Godfather's got to say right here.
All right, everybody. Godfather back here after a 3-1-1 week. I got a quick 5-pack for you because I got a thing I got to take care of. Let's start off. Excuse me. Let's start off with the Minnesota Vikings against the Carolina Panthers. We're going to lay to 1 with the Vikings. Panthers are trash. Next up, let's go to a home dog. Got to take a home dog when you can get one. Let's go to the Windy City. The Bears getting 4.5 at home. Not impressed by this Green Bay team. Justin Fields, give him a little spark. Defense, they're going to keep it close. I like the Bears to keep it close. We're going to take those 4.5. Next, Cleveland, getting my money back. Getting my money back from those rotten Arizona Cardinals. Overrated. Cleveland going to run all over them. We're going to lay the 3 with Cleveland this week. Rat line, stinky line. Cowboys, Patriots. With the way Dak has been playing, only laying 3.5 on the road, we're taking the Patriots. We're rolling with Bill Belichick as the home dog, 3.5. Finally, Sunday Night Football. We got the Steelers and the Seahawks. Steelers laying 5. Watch Succession Sunday night. Steelers going to blow out Geno Smith and that porous Seattle team without Russell Wilson. Thank you very much. Back to the Politburo of the Ron Nation. Mr. J, Mr. Ron, Mr. George.
All right. So, no game predictions this week. So what do we got left?
Your whole thing is like, I don't like it when you copy and paste all the fan questions throughout the week. So I send you the email of all the fan questions, and here you are, drunk again, unprepared, when it's all delivered to your front door, emailed. Can you give the Rons the questions that they deserve?
Oh my gosh. All right. So we addressed the Instagram questions. Okay. We addressed the numbers and just the inappropriateness of Montravius Adams, number 52, and Pete Werner, number 20. So we do have one last fan question, and this is a special one from our boy Eddie Eckstein. And he wants to know, with the bye coming at a great time for many of the injured Saints, why did Red the Weatherman vomit this week at Thursday Night Tennis, aka TNT?
Yeah, Ron, I was playing Eddie in that championship match, and he had to withdraw because he was thrown up all over the place. He had a big fishing trip earlier in the day, and he was sprawled out behind the court. Almost looked like he needed an IV. It was worrisome. Brought some towels, some water over to him. But I think it just comes down to hydrating. But nonetheless, Hatch and I were happy to get the win. He was like, let's reschedule the match. It's not fair. I'm like, dude, you need to take care of yourself and hydrate. If Djokovic is playing whoever in the round of 32 and they get a calf strain and they withdraw, they're not replaying the match. So bottom line, fans out there, if y'all want to send Eddie some Propel, some Dasani, some, whatever he needs to hydrate and get right, I think he's going to make a better habit of it.
No, Jay, that's kind of messed up to take advantage of your boy when he's down. I'm with Red. Y'all should definitely reschedule that match. That's kind of unchristian of you. And I'm not saying that I'm judging you for that, but I think that's really messed up. Okay, Ron, obviously.
Kind of mean.
Ron, obviously sleeping behind the wheel. We have some other questions here. This one's directed to our friend Ron from Hey Big Matt. Does our offensive line improve in the run game now that Traquan Smith is back blocking on running plays?
Oh my God, I'm so sick of this Traquan Smith running joke from our boy Matt here.
Hey, that's the best you could come up with.
Dude, Matt is a big downfield blocking guy. And look, hey, nobody's bigger than me, all right? Because, look, I'll tell you, George, Jay, look, one thing that the wide receivers are preaching in that locker room, I can tell you now, CJ's telling them they got to walk the walk, they got to talk the talk, they got to stalk the stalk, all right, all the way downfield. That's how you're going to free up those runs like Kamara broke this past week for the TD. And so, yeah, you're just going to see the playbook open all the way up once we get Traquan blocking downfield. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Look, but Callaway's got a little in him too. All right. So I don't want to downplay Callaway. He's a hell of a blocker too.
Yeah. I just Big's question for next week.
Next one's for Ron again from Derek.
I just want to close that full circle. None of them are Brandon Coleman though. I mean, you want to talk about downfield blocking. That guy stayed on the roster just for downfield blocking.
Oh, don't forget Big Meech.
Hey Big just texted me. I see that you guys are talking about this now. Downfield blocking is important. With the emergence of James Hurst at left tackle and playing so well, would it be wise with the lack of receiver depth to put Armstead split out to block right field, considering at the combine?
That's a true LOL. All right,
no,
Ron.
I mean, look, Jay's right. Look at the combine speed. You really can't argue with that one. So,
hey, he was an Olympic athlete.
Teron Armstead from
UAP Pine Bluff,
Arkansas Pine Bluff.
UAPB. Ron, I've been trying to ask this question for 30 seconds now from Derek LaRoche. Kamara running between the tackles, returning kicks, returning punts, and the leading receiver. What's next? Calling the plays, kicking extra points, and packing the luggage.
Well, now wait. Look, everybody saw that. If you didn't, Kamara said in his post-game presser, he's always cracking jokes after a W, right? And yeah, they asked him, hey, could you kick two? And yeah, he was already cracking a joke about, yeah, man, I'll do whatever it takes to win. If they want me back there returning punts, I'll return punts. He's like, hey, I told him, hey, I can kick too. But they said they don't have enough money to pay him all that. So, but yeah, the guy pretty much said, if you've got the money, he'll do the job. So you got to love that attitude out of this guy, whatever it takes. He is the cliche, but as we highlighted, look, there is a limit. There is a limit.
Jay, the next thing I'm going to ask the question, I'm going to answer it too, and then pose another question to you in pure Ron form. So the CJ Destroyer of the week, the best D lineman, I'm going to give it to one of the great unsung heroes of the Saints, Shy Tuttle. Thought he played terrific. Granderson had an up and down game. He heard us last week saying that he was disappearing in the outfield, so he had a sack. And then to really get on camera and to really get some attention, he went and got a 15-yard penalty on a pump block. So everyone knew his name, so Granderson doesn't get it. So Shy Tuttle, to me, was your defensive lineman player of the week as an unsung hero year in and year out for the Saints. Here is a good true or false question for you, Jay. I do know the answer. Is Shy his name or just a nickname?
By the way you phrased it, I would say it's true. It's his name.
Ron, you want to get in on it?
I'm thinking it's got to be short for something. I'm thinking like it is part of his name, but I think there's a longer name.
So Ron had enough time to Google it.
Get out of here.
You are both correct. His name is Shaheem Tuttle. I always thought, is it like based off of how he behaved as a baby? Like, he's a quiet little guy. How do you get the name Shy? But it's actually short for Shaheem. And when we won the Super Bowl, we had guys like Remy Oyedel. There's DTs. They're kind of like interior offensive linemen that have a very important role on this team. And I know Jay said earlier in the podcast, this episode, that they're double teaming the ends because they don't respect the DTs. I haven't thought that these guys have done terribly in spell of Onyemata being out. Onyemata is a fantastic DT, probably the best DT in the Sean Payton era. Who else could it be? Rankins. Fairley had a good year. Cedric Ellis kind of came on strong at the end of his rookie contract. But one guy who's always been reliable in the Sean Payton era has been Onyemata, and with him out, Shy Tuttle has been the guy that has caught my eye as his replacement because the other names haven't stood out as much. But that's neither here nor there. Now, Ron, any last and final before we take a week off and enjoy our bye week?
Yeah, well, I'm not going to let Shy Tuttle's segment of the show get over with without highlighting. Shy Tuttle might be responsible for maybe my favorite play in Saints franchise history on Thanksgiving a couple of years back, where he got the interception off Matt Ryan and then planted him
1 year back.
ground.
That was last year.
No, dude, that was 19. It was 19. That was the Thanksgiving game. Come on, we were all UTO.
Yeah,
That's what I said. I said 2 years ago.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, dude, that was the Thanksgiving game 2 years ago. Yeah. Put this dude in the ground with the stiff arm heard around the world. Dude, the entire Houdat Nation felt the tremors of that freaking stiff arm. So yeah, that was like, I could watch that play over and over again. There's a great GIF of it. But yeah, George, Jay, well, George, good auditing. Did I miss any?
Yeah, one more from Bogey Martin. Guys, Ron especially, we all know that you guys put a lot of preparation into this. What are you planning on doing with your bye week Sunday for Ron?
Oh, man. So bye week Sunday, let me check the personal calendar because I don't even know. I hardly even make the plans anymore. I think we're going to a pumpkin patch or something like that. This is a totally family day this Sunday. It's 100% family time. What's that?
Got to get your Instagram pictures.
That's right. I think we're hitting up the pumpkin patch, and I think even one better. I think we're going to Boo at the Zoo here in Baton Rouge. I think there's going to be a pumpkin patch at the Boo at the Zoo. It's just going to be next level Instagram cuteness going on, making memories. What about you, George?
So, number one podcaster, tired of being number 2 world. I'm not getting a silver medal this weekend. This weekend is a pickleball tournament, and I know y'all been supporting me. I see the dozens watching from the sidelines. I see the millions watching online, and I appreciate the appreciation that comes from the bottom of my heart. And I know all the Rons out there are going to be cheering me on. I got my teammate, David Stahl, as my guy on Saturday. We're going to go for gold. I got BMW going for gold on Sunday in the mixed double.
Tell everybody where it is.
They know where it is. They follow me. They already know. You're the only one that doesn't know because you're not properly following my pickleball journey. And I resent you for that because my boy Ron will tell you right now that's in Mandeville because he knows that this tournament's going to be held at Pelican Park and everyone's going to be in attendance. It's going to be UTO times Mardi Gras times Saints Super Bowl equals the Sunday Pink Pickleball Tournament. You know, we've gotten a lot of silver medals, but we're tired of those silver medals. And I know you're here for football. And World, we're going to have a good week off, and then we're going to go Monday Night Football. And then what are we going to do, World? What are we going to do, Rons? We're coming back to the Superdome. Where we're coming back? We're coming back to UTO. And here we have some nuggets from last week's miraculous return. UTO, here are the sights and sounds from UTO Giants game.
Where you at, Rons? And all 5 Ronettes under the overpass. That's right. We pounded the over. We got it. Hey, and I want to tell you right now, for the first time in 600 days, we're reporting live under the overpass with the UTO correspondent. Sweaters!
How's it going, Ronnie and Ronettes? This is your boy Sweaters here. I'm just going to tell y'all French Quarter Realty has provided a little Cane's platter. So for the first time in UTO history, we do have food under the overpass. Just to let you know, we have the ratio of about, I would say, 10 to 2 girls. That's what we like over here. I'm seeing a big old...
That's 5 to 1.
I'm not the PE, bro. What I am seeing, though, is a bunch of trash being piled up with whippets that have been here for quite some time, it seems like, and are absolutely scorched into the dirt. But it is great to be back, lighting up cigs, hitting the vapes, hitting a nooner, and that's it. And we got... I thought I was shooting. All right, we out.
We out here, baby.
Hello, this is the boss under the overpass. We're going to get some intel from the away fans. Let me see what they say. Guys, this is a podcast that we're doing. It's called Pro Saints Talk. How do y'all feel about today's game?
Giants are going to get a whooping, unfortunately.
You think?
Unfortunately.
I think it'll be close. I don't think either team's going to score very much. The offenses both stink.
Any opinion?
No, I think it's going to be a close game.
I like that Lawrence Taylor retro jersey you got.
Oh, yeah.
There.
Got it in Denver for like $20.
He's the best defender we still have.
Yeah.
All right.
He needs to come out and play today for us to have a chance.
How many touchdowns does Jameis Winston throw?
Jameis Winston
One.
throws one touchdown.
How many interceptions?
2.
2? What about Danny Dimes? How many interceptions does he throw?
Danny Dimes doesn't throw an interception, doesn't throw any. He has a fumble. He rushes for 75 yards and throws for 2 touchdowns.
Sterling Shepard's not in, though.
Sterling Shepard's out. Darius Slayton's out. Kadarius Toney, the rookie, is going to come in and light it up.
Gotcha. All right, well, final score prediction. What is it?
24-13 Saints.
I'll say, I'm going to say 24-17 Giants.
Your opinion, Lawrence Taylor?
21-24 Saints.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Hey, no problem. Have a good day.
Y'all too.
Look, for Red in Louisiana, camouflage bandana around there, I had to man up. Magnolia had to stand up. Didn't believe in Santa, I hustled in front of grandma last seeing green in the circle when the lights went out. Should I believe I made a couple 100,000 in droughts? Caladonna and Robinson when I was out and about. Behind the second line, 2s and 22s and the 6. You get a whole lot of respect when you they do for the bricks. I mean,